when your soul's weary, when you find out, when you can't hear me, lay your troubles down. In your dark moments, when your heart's weak, bring yourself broken, you will find me. Who wrote the rain? Who wrote the sun in? Who calls your name? Where are you running? I wanna be there, near or far. I wanna meet you where you are. Who wrote the rain? Who wrote the sun in? When you come thirsty, when the well's dry, when your soul's dirty, I am by your side. When your faith's broken, when you can't see, with my arms open, you will find me. Who wrote the rain? Who wrote the sun in? Who calls your name? Where are you running? I wanna be there, near or far. I wanna meet you where you are. Who wrote the rain? Who wrote the sun in? You carried all my shame when you called my name, and I am not the same. Who wrote the rain? Who wrote the sun in? You called my name, I'm tired of running. I wanna be there, near or far. I wanna meet you where you are. Who wrote the rain? Who wrote the sun in? You will find me. You will find me.
Some days you're tired of trying to measure up. You see a girl who's not enough. When you look in the mirror, some nights all you wanna do is hide. 'Cause every time you look inside, you're face to face with failure. But you are loved, oh, not because of what you've done, no. Even when your heart has run the other way, nothing's gonna change his love. And you are wanted, not because you are perfect. I know that you don't think you're
Hi, I'm Newt Crenshaw, the president of Young Life. Thanks for taking the time to show up today and to see what God is doing in the lives of kids in your community. What you're doing is exactly what kids need. Kids need today more than ever adults to show up in their lives. It's through these relationships as adults go where kids are and walk alongside them that we in Young Life earn the right to share about how God showed up in the world through the person of Jesus Christ, and how this reveals the extravagant love God has for us. And regardless of a kid's response to God, adults in Young Life keep walking alongside them, no matter what. This is why I love Young Life. I've seen it show up in the lives of my own kids. I took my kids to a Young Life family camp when they were young, and I can still remember the delight and excitement on my daughter's face as she watched program. The characters making jokes and showing us that life is meant to be enjoyed. And this led to a simple and clear presentation of the gospel, which happens in Young Life every day. Kids hear about Jesus and his love and how they can walk with him. While a global pandemic has changed some of how we do things, our core remains the same. The adults you see on the screen, not me, but others, are the ones who know kids in your community. They actually like spending time with them. And now, when kids are more removed and isolated than ever, they are the ones who have relationships with these kids who are hurting and hopeful, anxious and excited. I want you to know that in Young Life, this is not a season to pause or halt what we do. Rather, we're going forward together. That's our focus. We're finding new ways to go together with kids. We know them and care for them. We are finding creative ways to share life together with them because kids are dear to us. After all, going together is really about showing up. In a few moments, you'll hear about ways to show up for kids in your community. I want you to know that Young Life exists all around the U.S. and in 105 countries around the world. We're in the lives of over 2 million kids. We were able to do this because generous adults in communities like yours have decided kids need adults walking in friendship with them and a chance to hear the good news of Jesus Christ. These adults support this work through prayer, time, and financial resources. Thanks for showing up today and considering how you can show up for kids who desperately need it.
You've got Young Life tonight, but you haven't really figured out what you think about it yet. I mean, you really like your leaders. They're different. They make you feel safe by the way they keep showing up in your life. Sporting events, life changes, birthday FaceTimes. They really seem to care. Also, they're hilarious. And camp is, well, the best. But you're starting to think that there's more to Young Life than all the hype. Maybe you've had a difficult year and just need a friend. Maybe you've been asking some challenging questions about God and need someone to hear you out. No matter what you're going through, the more time you spend with your leader and the more you listen to the club talks, and I mean really listen, you'll notice that so much more is happening. Your life is being transformed. For the first time, you can be yourself. Because at Young Life, whether it's Capernaum, Wildlife, Young Lives, or Young Life College, there's a place for everyone. It's a place where you're free to be wild and more than a little crazy. Where friendships get stronger, but most importantly, a place where you'll grow deeper in your relationship with Christ. Young Life is a movement that transforms young people's lives through the love of God. Because you were made for more than what the world has to offer. You were made for freedom, joy, adventure, love, relationship. You were made for this.
Hi, Hi, my name is Jenna Perkins, and I'm the Area Director for Central Grand Rapids Young Life. Thank you for joining us virtually tonight. We know that a lot of people could not join us downtown, and we're just thrilled that you're choosing to join us online tonight to hear more about Young Life in Central Grand Rapids. As you can see from that video, Young Life has a huge impact all over Grand Rapids, and tonight we're specifically looking at Grand Rapids Christian Schools and East Grand Rapids Schools, which are part of Central Grand Rapids Young Life. I'm going to share with you a little bit about what Young Life has looked like in 2020, and Abby is going to share with you about the need for Young Life right now. And then we have a student and leader that are going to share their testimony with you and the impact that Young Life has had on them. So when we started this year in 2020, we never would have imagined what ministry would look like. As everyone, things changed drastically for us. When the world shut down, we felt there was a lot to be discouraged about because we are such a relational ministry and we like to be where kids are and we like to be in big groups and we like to be in small groups. And the truth is there was a lot to be discouraged about, but we quickly realized that Young Life leaders were made for something like this. Young Life leaders are people who are passionate about kids knowing the Lord. They're passionate about the gospel being presented to kids. And so they are creative about how they can do that. And they quickly switched to doing virtual clubs and campaigners all spring. Leaders continued FaceTiming, calling, texting, just to be part of their life and make sure they were doing okay. We had leaders that would socially distant go to their driveways and do a socially distant conversation just in their driveway, just the two of them, just to check in. So we were able to maintain relationships throughout the spring and throughout that quarantine season. During the summer, we ended up having 140 kids and leaders in different campaigner groups meeting all over Grand Rapids outside. We did it as safe as possible outside, and kids were able to still be together in those communities. We were able to take about 100 kids and leaders to Timberwolf this summer and do some small group camping. And it looked very different than what we're used to, but it was still an adventure, and it was full of community, and the gospel was presented for these kids. Our Young Lives ministry, which is for teen moms, provided meals and other physical needs for the girls who were suddenly without work and they were home full time with their kids. They had so many needs, and our mentors stepped in to care for them. This fall, we've started club and campaigners, and we're doing it outside, and we're doing it as socially distant as possible. So our ministry has gone on, and we're so thrilled we've been able to do that in a safe way. And really, even more important than all these events is that Young Life leaders have been with kids throughout the COVID-19 experience. COVID-19 has impacted all of us in so many ways. And for teenagers, what we have recognized is the isolation and the disappointment of cancellations has been very intense. And so I want to turn it over now to Abby, who is going to share a little bit more with you about the need for Young Life right now.
Hi, my name's Abby Gurka, and I am the Associate Area Director for Central Grand Rapids Young Life. I just wanted to update you currently on what I feel like our kids are experiencing and why Young Life is just so important, especially right now. I really feel like never before have we needed somebody more on the inside, able to help them make a positive change and give them a minute. I feel like currently they're given so little time where people pay attention specifically to them, so rarely does someone follow up and check in. And I just feel like they're not used to someone sticking around. Everything's instant and temporary right now in their world. And there's just hundreds of surveys showing that social media is really, really ruining connection for them. For us as well, but especially for kids, as that's like all they're growing up knowing. They're visible to me, visible to others, dependent on just validation from their peers and for others around them. And this virtual presence of their friends is so important. And it's like the deepest of their friendships sometimes can exist fully behind a screen. Especially as we're living right now in a socially distant world, these kids try to fill the void with more and more pickups of their phone and eagerness for likes. Kids are struggling silently in a way that I'm sure kids have done forever, but I'm just a witness to right now. And the chance to notice it feels less and less frequent because we're spending less time together, especially right now. I know of kids personally that are wrestling with depression, anxiety, divorce, loneliness, feeling like they don't belong, thoughts of harming themselves. It's getting harder and harder for their friends to be physically present with them in that. And so they retreat to what they know, and they're on average spending around 7 hours to 10 hours a day on their phones. On average, even just picking it up more than 60 times a day. We want to shake them and tell them to pick up their phones less, but without an alternative, this is what their generation's been conditioned to. Not because of parents, not because of anyone before them, but just truly what's going on around them. We're trying to show kids a way out of the rabbit hole, a life that's better and a life that's truly life-giving. They deserve someone committed to that follow-up, someone committed to who they are as a person. They deserve someone who's willing to step out and show them the truth. Our leaders are outstanding, and they love and care for these kids. It's through their love for Jesus that they want kids to know the truth. Young Life leaders step in. They do not shy away from the pain and the hurt that the kids are feeling, and they find creative ways, even now, to spend life with them. I'm a witness to this on a weekly basis with the teams that I'm a part of in this community, and I've seen countless lives change through kids being shown the love of Jesus. These adult friendships look so much different than their daily rat race, and watching kids learn that their love for exactly who they are is exactly why we do what we do. When we hear of a deep need or a kid struggling profoundly, that's exactly why we're in this ministry. To be with them and point them to the light that we know is true and life-giving. Sometimes these relationships can be years in the making. We know that God's at work even in the smallest of interactions. I've seen these relationships go on for years into continual friendship because of how much more these relationships have meant to them over the years. It's through these texts, calls, Tuesday night dinners, Bible studies, visited sports games, graduations, and so on that our leaders remind them that God does not give up, and we will try our best to imitate exactly that.
So Kurt, tell me about your faith before coming to Young Life.
My faith before Young Life, I've always been raised pretty strongly, but before I never really shared my faith journey with other people and didn't really walk alongside other people. I was a pretty closed book.
Tell me about Jose and how he reached out to you.
Jose's been great. He's so easy to talk to. Anything I need to, I can bring it up to him. We can talk through it. Every conversation is just so genuine.
Tell me about the tough time of losing John and then what it looked like for Young Life leaders to follow up with you.
So John was one of my best friends. One night I woke up to a text from my friend saying he was killed in a car accident the night before. So it was just a shock. And me personally, when tragedies like that happen, I tend to just shut down. Right after it happened, Jose was one of the first people to reach out to me, make sure I was doing all right, gave me someone to talk to about it, to be able to express my feelings about it when there's not a lot of people I'm comfortable doing that with.
So Jose, what was that like for you supporting Kurt through that experience?
Having experienced, losing friends, I realized the importance of having not just like someone to reach out to, but kind of having a community to be there for you. For me, it was more like, I just want to reach out and let you know that I'm here. Simply that I'm here, and here to listen. And I think, during these times, that's one of the biggest things that you can offer to someone that's going through that.
Kurt, how would you say you've grown or changed since getting involved with Young Life?
I'm much more outspoken about my faith. I feel more comfortable going through things in life with other people. I met multiple of my best friends there, and I wouldn't have got that close to them if it wasn't for Young Life. And knowing that there are also people going through their faith journey alongside me, it just makes the relationships that much stronger.
Now that was Kurt and Jose's story, and it's just one example of a life-changing story happening in Central Grand Rapids Young Life right now. It's happening with middle school kids, with high school kids, with teen moms. And our desire is that a Young Life leader is helping these kids walk through life and pointing them to Christ. We truly could not do it without your support, and I mean that. The ministry is fully funded by this community, and it would not happen without you. Our budget this year is $270,000, and our goal tonight is to raise $97,000 through this event. You will see on the screen how our budget breaks down. Currently, about 20% of our giving comes from our monthly donors, and this is important to us because it is an amount that we can count on every month. Our goal is to increase that percentage tonight. If you're able to do so, please consider joining us as a monthly donor. Now on the screen, you will see all the ways you can give. The first way is online, and there are a few ways to get there. You can also send in a check to our Young Life office. So for the next few minutes, we're going to ask that you prayerfully consider joining the work of Central Grand Rapids Young Life. Thank you again for being here, and we hope you have a great night.
Some days you're tired of trying to measure up. You see a girl who's not enough.